Beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Be my neighbor. So I decided I'd do a talk today on meditation and give some pointers. So there's a couple of stories we have to go over beforehand, or a story to start off the thing, 7 minutes. And then we're going to go into a little bit of scripture, like one, to really dive into the act of meditation and what you are to do. So without further ado, go ahead and do this. Boop. And okay. You ready?
When we say Shiva, generally he is always referred to as Swayambhu because there is no particular moment of creation, there is no particular source of creation. He is by himself. That's why the word Shiva means that which is not. That which is not does not happen at a particular time, does not happen through something, it is there. So Shiva was the creator. Brahma came and started creating. So various galaxies, the planets, the life forms, the humans, everything came forth out of him. Creation got into its grind of moment, and Shiva, who was still, opened his eyes and started looking at the creation. As he observed the creation, he saw people were going through all kinds of struggles, pains, miseries, agony, various levels. Here and there was a little bit of pleasure and joy. So when he saw this, he did not like the creation. He looked around, then he saw Brahma was so absolutely proud of his creation. He was looking at his creation with great pride and joy. Then he found 2 eyes were not enough, so he popped one more head to look at this side. He didn't want to miss anything. Then he popped one more and one more. Then he popped a 5th head, like a crown for his pride, not to look at anything in particular, just to crown himself with an extra head. When Shiva saw that this Brahma is so gloating about such a miserable creation, he got mad. He attacked Brahma and plucked his 5th head out. Now he has only 4, Brahma screamed in pain and said, "Why are you doing this to me?" Then Shiva said, "Are you not ashamed of this creation that you have done? Everybody is suffering. People are going through all kinds of struggles. People are going through all kinds of miseries and pain and agony." Brahma said, "I have not created pain, nor have I created joy. I have just made it. It is up to them how they go through this. It is in their mind." Then Shiva said, "Who created the mind? That is also your creation." Brahma said, "The mind has no attributes of its own. It is just there. People can make joy out of it or misery out of it. People can make agony out of it or ecstasy out of it. It's left to them." Then Shiva sat down and looked at the creation very carefully, observed every creature, and then he wanted to know his own mind. So he closed his eyes and started looking at the nature of his own creation, his own mind. And when he realized, when his realization came to a certain absoluteness, that actually creation is without attribute, Each individual can make whatever he wants. The mind is attributeless. When he realized this, then he became so ecstatic that he jumped and danced. He danced wildly out of his joy and ecstasy. As he danced intensely, with absolute involvement, when every cell in his body was a dance by itself, suddenly he realized that this dance is not necessary either. And he noticed, at the peak of his dance, there was absolute stillness. So he sat down as an ascetic, unmoving, utterly still. They say that stillness happened on this day, on the Mahashivaratri night, is when it happened. From intensity of ecstasy to absolute annihilation and stillness. These two things, he went on alternating. This is the imagery that you see. Sometimes he is dancing and exuberant, sometimes he is utterly still, as if nothing exists. When we say Shiva is the destroyer, it is not about destroying the world, it's about destroying your world. Your world is essentially an accumulation of past experiences and impressions. Past is seeping into the present only through your thought process. And it is projecting itself into the future through your desiring process. What you know as your desire is essentially an exaggerated version of the past. So the destruction of the past is the essential nature, because if you want to know the grandeur of the creation, that is possible only through the presently existing moment that is here right now. This is the only doorway. In utter stillness, there is no past. In absolute movement, there is no past. These are the two fundamental passages that Shiva found to give access to that which is creation and the source of creation.
All right, and how does this relate into Jesus? I just want to show you so you can see it. And it says, John 5:17. In his defense, Jesus said to them, my Father is always at his work to this very day, and I am too working. And you can see it's various ways that's been written and said. Now, that is a key to Isha. Isha, when I say Isha, it's stillness. That's Isaz inside the Futhark room. ISA. Sometimes add the Z onto it. When you say Isha in Sanskrit, there is it means full of sap and vigor, to be exuberant. I have a Sanskrit dictionary, so I looked it up. So you have the full of sap, full of vigor, movement, full, right? And like you just heard inside the video, he alternates between moments whenever he's going extremely static and dancing to where he's sitting there completely still. And you'll never know if he's doing something. There's never one particular point of a creation where he did not exist because he is what has been there. But still, over time, he's built and told you his situations, like the whole Amos 5:20, the day the Lord is in darkness. How great is that darkness? It's the whole he's in darkness. He's inside of the void of some sort. He woke up alone and just came into being by himself. This is what all our ancient ancestors also tell. You have to go back through the lore that was given to us throughout history in order for us to understand his story. And you won't just do it off of one system. The Tower of Babylon, everyone was just like today and how they're babbling on. No one was paying attention. So he fractured their languages and sent them out on purpose. That's why the Anunnaki did that. So that you wouldn't be able to constantly keep on rambling on about like stupid stuff that doesn't matter. It got tiring. So everything got fractured and spread apart. You started over. Makes sense? Makes sense to me. Especially when people aren't listening, because there's a purpose behind everything. So when Jesus says, my Father is always at work, he's always at work even to this day. When I say Shiva, you gotta remember Na Ma Shivaya. Na is earth, Ma is water. Those are both feminine. Si is fire, Va is air. Those are both masculine. Ya is ether. Inside the old myths, like the Nordic myths, you have there was a realm of fire and water. This fire is a divine fire, is all there ever is, according to Thoth. Well, the fire is constantly burning, generating heat, and it generates so much heat that it makes this water-like substance that is the energy or electricity that you all know of. And so therefore you are inside the sea or the ocean right now, because you're inside nothing but a sea of atoms of various densities and types layered on top of each other. From the air that you breathe, that all has its own energetic profile, down to the table you sit at. Your body, it's all layered in different levels. This is how it generates itself over time. That's how it's been made by the fiery workman. For an ox is the nature that goes out and it works. So the Brahma, or fiery bull, like the Brahma bull that the Rock uses, the fiery bull fashions the world. And if you read Poimandres, the Vision of Hermes, they'll talk about the fiery workman. That is, the workman is the bull, which goes back to the Moloch worship and the bull worship that you have inside old covenants, old stuff like that. But that's not the point. You're not supposed to worship a specific aspect. You're supposed to understand that aspect of the self. When fire and water came together, out of them came a bull and Ymir, the first Titan, or Jotun, from down below. Jotun, Ymir. When you look at shows like Attack on Titan, Ymir is a female, can be considered. She's like the founding low one that started off, and she nestled on the bull, or the cow. You can see it as a he or a she, I guess, inside both of them. Because you can see the fiery workman going out and founding the world and making everything, and then Ymir, but also from all that milk, and you have Ymir being a female, the phallic staff, how everyone has certain things that dudes produce a part of milk too. And you can also flip it around to where the man would be the first one to come out, and the bull would be a female that the man suckles. Thus you drink cow's milk and stuff like that. And also cows are known to be very emotional. That's why they're sacred in India. They'll shed tears whenever they're sad, Whenever they can feel like another person close to them has died, they shed tears. And someone noticed that, and that's what makes them sacred over there. But it's not about either of those. They're still a beast, but there's just showing that there's a spark, an awareness within the bull, a cow, that makes them like that. And a bull, as you know, when he sees red, he attacks it. Well, why is that? Well, because his vision goes red. When your vision goes red, you're a fiery workman within you. You're all of a sudden are hamped up and ready to go something up. And red's the color of your survival chakra. So you see how these things all interplay with each other? So, as he says, my Father is working until now, and I am still working. The Creator hasn't stopped moving. He's constantly generating more energy. Constantly generating more and more and more, and doing things inside of his own creation. So the ancient teachings, they say that this is a dream. Well, it's him reflecting in upon himself on his shadow. But he's zero. He's no thing. It's not inside of any particular point whenever he did come into existence. So he took a copy of himself and drained it of its light. So you're a lesser version of it. You have the blueprint of him in you, but he sends you into the dream so that you can experience things yourself and build your own character. So he hasn't stopped working. Still, you see everything going on. He hasn't died. He's the founding principle behind all of it. And he's inside the void. He hasn't come into contact with anything else yet. He's been there for a long time, trying to create shadows, children, taking copies of himself, letting them experience different things than what he's experienced within his own creation, to come to understand him and his point and become just like him. So as our Father works, so do we work, but we work inside of a different fashion. It's an inversion, because our point is to get to where we get like him inside of a way, our own way, or we come to have a realization, which is what you call like self-realization. You realized him. And enlightenment itself is when the pineal gland actually pops open, because you gain your light within yourself. You go from being a black hole to being a yod, or a sun. And that's what the mark of yod or seal of God is in the forehead, or the mark of the beast, because as I've stated before, the pineal gland is the mark of the beast. Pineal, 3 words, 6 letters. That comes from Genesis 32, 30, and 31, and also the pineal gland name. 3 words, 6 letters, 666, shaped like a pine cone. Pine cones look like dragon eggs. Both of them need to be heated up for them to be popped. Or hatch. Your brain system is the feathered serpent when you're fully attached with everything. So, we had to learn. I was sitting back, and when I went through this whole process, I realized everyone's saying that I'm Shiva. That's what everyone was saying, right? You have Shiva energy. I'm like, So inside of that, I was looking, and I was like, well, I'm always working and doing stuff one way or another. Even whenever I'm sitting there being absolutely still, trying not to think that's still me doing something. I'm always busy doing various things. So what I'm trying to do is essentially what he's doing. I had to dance with the creation instead of going against it. Don't grind the gears, but join in with the whole play of everything going on. Let go of what I think is logical and rational. Turn my energy to the right side, to my creative mind, and let go of what I know things to be, or I say I know things to be. Because truly, everyone says they know things, but then 20 years later, the things they know get proven wrong. So I know certain things from my own experience, though, because I've had various experiences. So let me go ahead and go into that. And I went into my temple and did my natural meditation thing that I do, and started to unify all the various worlds together as one singular world. Now, I see a lot of people saying that they have problems with building a temple. Or asking, what do I mean when I say build a temple? So the temple that you build inside of yourself, because Acts 17:23 tells you, or 24, says the Lord who dwells in heaven, the Lord who made heaven and earth dwells not in temples made with hands. That is actually talking about your inner space. Your body is your temple. It said that in 1 Corinthians 6:19. So the body is the temple, and you are the Holy Ghost within it, which would be that copy of him making your own decisions. But you are not your own because you are of him, empowered and sustained by him, because you don't have your own soul. You're a spirit. That's why it's the Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit and Holy Ghost go together. Spirit's the female aspect. The ghost is the male aspect of it. Yeah, didn't know that, did you? And that comes from the whole separating of fire and water, or the positive and negative polarities, to make male and female, swinging his energy out in such different ways to make the two different forces that come together to make things exist, which we know that I'm still working on things inside that area. I'm trying to understand the ether science. So we'll come back to that another time. Whenever you sit down to go make a temple, you can go and first place, survival. First chakra, root of your spine. Tense up a little bit like you're cutting off, poop. Relax it halfway and you're going to feel a little tingle down below. Not inside your special place, but like it's going to be lower part of the back, tail of the spine, the sacrum area, which would be the chakra being active. You have to hold half in, half out. Normally people will sit around with it just out, not holding in their whatchamacallit, or some people, they hold it all the way in, this to retention. It's a half in, half out kind of thing, relaxed, but not. Like you're supposed to keep your abs relaxed, but not. You don't want them to be fully tight all the time, but you also don't want them to be hanging all the way out, just making you look sloppy because it changes your thing. You're supposed to kind of keep tension on your abdomen to keep yourself proper, but you want to in, but not, unless you're specifically focusing on doing deeper breaths, to deep breathing to let your belly out, to do things like that, to fill the lungs up. Belly out, usually you have more space than when you have your belly in. It's not as much space for comfortability. It's a out and in, using your diaphragm. So you can sit down or walk through the woods. Go on a walk in the woods. Survival nature. Get back in nature. Walk around inside the woods. Just paying attention. Don't listen to music. Don't do anything else like that. Just walk. Try not to think. Your whole sitting down inside your closet, close the door and you count down to where you just don't think. You just be. Sorry. Whenever you're just being, you can go on a walk through the woods. You open up yourself to your senses so that you can see, feel, hear, and tap into everything around you. Your nature, your inner nature. That way, you know when things are going on. So to build your temple, back when I was a kid, because I was a loser, I am the loser. The Lord of Shattered Embers. Thank you. I used to hold my head down a lot when I'd walk. I'd walk up and down the street because I couldn't go nowhere else. I was like 10. Wasn't inside apartments anymore. Apartments, kids, there's other kids around that come to your house and get you, and the older and younger, and everyone's kind of moving together in packs as a protection mechanism that we have as children. You live, and you get older, and you have more space, like the outdoors, and you're not in that gate of comfortability within the community that you're growing up in, you're into a larger type of community. So different people feel different ways, and you can't leave the street. I couldn't leave the street I was on. Parents wouldn't let me. Gotta be within views so they can see me. Up to a certain age, you know? Understandable. So I'd walk up and down the street. I pace a lot. And I'd have my head down as I was thinking about everything, just my life and stuff. And I got to where I'd have head down and I kind of roll my eyes up and be like walking forward, eyes half open, half closed, just kind of walking. And I started to visualize myself being inside of woods, like what it would be like to be in the wilderness. And just walking around. And then I went to, because inside my dreams, I would go to places like this all the time. I'd be on the dream doing other things, eating animals and stuff like that. So I just started to get to where, because I had transformed, I had some negative stuff happen, and I turned into a saber-toothed tiger and went around doing a massacre inside the spirit world. Because something was trying to eat me on the lower astral, so I ate it back. Fuck them. What the fuck you think I am? A little spirit. You know. So I went on a rampage. I was eating things, running around, just eating and eating and eating and eating until eventually I came into a temple. And when I got into the temple, my dreams started being different. It started to be more interactive with the other humanoid beings, and I was no longer an animal. I used to just be a saber-toothed tiger, y'all. I wasn't like a person or anything, man. I'd be running around. Yeah. Sometimes I'd be like a werewolf. Well, the saber-toothed tiger started to lose his skin, actually. I was eating all those things, and like I evolved to where I was like this reptile, werewolf, saber-toothed tiger thing. I don't know. I don't really know how to describe it. The bones fell off, and then like the bones became the armor, and it filled out from the inside with muscles, and then bones formed inside of it from there. So I had like the bone armor on the outside of myself. It was like massive and stuff like that. And so that's just how I formed inside the astral realm whenever I was there. I looked like a kid. I looked like me as a kid when I was first there. Then something tried to eat me. Then I was like, I was having problems inside this place out here. So I was like, inside of here, I can do whatever I want. No, fuck that. So, rah, and I transformed into a saber-toothed tiger, spirit animal, ate him, and then went eating other things. Okay, you get it? It's a logical progression here of why these things happened. I was in a dream. This happened. I wasn't digging that, so I ate that, and so we go and get over there. Okay? You following me? So, from there, from the temple, I'd be walking up and down the street, and I'd be visualizing the inside of the temple, and, you know, going to the beach and being at the ocean, being up high in the mountains on floating platforms and spheres, whatever, plateaus, and like all these exotic locations that just came to mind when I would sit there and think about like the different elemental places. And so there I was, and there I walked around as I was walking up and down my street, doing things. At the age of 12, 13, about the time whenever your self-awareness kicks in because your brain waves hit a certain level, I started to do that and walk in between the two and would kind of become entranced inside of a way. And while I'm walking on the outside, I'd be running around in here, jumping over, doing stuff, visualizing, seeing all this other stuff, running through the wilderness, the children of the woods. The dark wood. So from there, I ran through, was doing all these other things. This is where you go to build your temple. You have to go into that space. When I sit down and write like my post from the asylum, I'm in that space. An asylum is a sanctuary. It's your own thinking processes, higher mind. This is just the basic rudimentary things that I did as a kid. You also have to develop your understanding in multiple ways. The only way to truly, fully get it is to read and research all the things. And eventually it dawns on you. Like, oh, it's like dawn. You're in the twilight. You get to go through dawn. Once you go through dawn, you reach into the point of enlightenment and you actually enter into the world. So way. So when you sit down and you meditate, that's one thing you can do. You go into that temple, or you go inside yourself and walk around the woods. What do you see inside of there? What type of beings? Who do you interact with? That's up to you. I mean, once I got into my temple, I was interacting with other beings that aren't me, but they were my fractal inside the past. Who I've been, different aspects inside of a way, hidden inside of my own personal pattern. Because, I reincarnate and I've already done this whole ascension thing before my first time here on Terra. And I came in as a judge, not as an instructor. So I have a dual job of being judgment as well as being a teacher. I don't have to teach, really. I can go on about my way, but it's a kind thing to do to help spread knowledge and information. Another thing you can do when you sit down to meditate, understand it's called ki, the waters, right? It's the waters above and below. And as I said earlier, there's that divine fire that was going off that made water, that makes the waters, the burning waters that are treacherous to go through. Like inside Game of Thrones, how they had that burning sea. That's the equivalent of like the waters of creation, the burning sea. What does your waters feel like inside of you? A lot of people are sitting here and you're trying to slow down. When you're not at the point you need to slow down, you need to raise your vibration. Whenever you look at water and you freeze it, it takes on a fractal pattern. It's that free fall. You call that snow. You are like a little snowdrop inside of a giant, vast ocean of water, trying to keep yourself solid. You have to let your ice melt and turn back into the waters. That fluidity, that you lack your fluidity of mind or idea, identification, or what you are. You're trying to hold on to everything when you need to let go and just be. You can't hold on. You don't own yourself. You're trying to build yourself. So that fractal pattern you get when you sit down, you're trying to build that fractal. That's why you look at the geometrical shapes and everything like that to try to understand creation. That's it inside of a stagnant aspect. That's it when it's frozen. It's constantly moving. So it's a vibration. It's not really like it's stable. It's a vibration. You get me? And since it's that vibration, that's that warble. Well, what happens whenever you start to warm water up? And then it starts bubbling. And that's raising the vibration, and it bubbles, 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 and it bubbles. And then it overflows. How do you think he generates more heat and keeps things going? Because he's constantly bubbling and letting things overflow and just frothing up to make the energy that's out there, the particles as it goes around. It's his all-spark type motion, just constantly going. It's the primordial Om. It's not like a no. It's a om. Like om. And when you say you feel your body vibrate, like that pulse of the bass, the running through the waters. Like how when you get in a car and you can feel the bass moving, feel the bass inside of you. You go and let it like vibrate within you. This is how you start to get in touch with your waters, your key from the inside of you. It's the same principle as when I told you. You move your arm up and down a few times, then you stop, sit there, and think about moving it. Don't move it. Just think about it. And you'll feel that like weight, that tension go there, that muscular energy start to generate into that area to cause it to happen. Okay? So that's it's a part of it. You have to learn how to get in touch with your energy inside of you as well. Besides just saying, but yeah, you can feel it vibrating. But you understand that vibration itself that you're generating is also energy. You can feel it just to put your attention within your body to feel it. And you can sit here also while you're doing meditation and feel your energy pulse out inside your body, like inside of a grid work type way. You have to understand and map your own body. The idea for that comes from like Sword Art Online, how they take the atmosphere and rub it all over the body, and it gets identification of who they are. It's like you're sitting here and taking your own mind, reflecting it inside yourself, and filling out the different areas of your body to map your body within the actual grid of above and below. And also while you're sitting there and you start focusing on that om, or just feeling the vibration within you, that actual primordial vibration, the energy turns on and you feel your body get filled with energy. You start feeling that electrical vibration going off. That's a part of while you're sitting there being completely still, this doesn't require you to think because it's not a thought. It's an action, ion. It's what you're actively doing. It's where you're putting your awareness and presence and forth into. Then the mind pictures, if you read the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, within the first part of the book, he talks about you see a bunch of mind pictures go through. Well, your mind is the actual picture that you can see or the things you formulate when you close your eyes and see something. Because your eyes are still black here, but a part of you can see, like if I say sunflower, you see a sunflower in your head right now with your eyes wide open. What is that sight? That is your third eye. That's the actual third eye. If I say ice cubes, you think about a white tray with ice cubes. What do you see? You're thinking about that? That's your third eye. That's the actual eye from within you that sees. That's why the pineal gland is known as the mark of the beast, because it's a vestigial organ. You have another mind that you're not tapping into, or you're not using your third eye to see the thing, to just let it come to you. What is there? Whenever you say it, it pops up. And then also there's different ways you can interface that third eye with the surrounding area to build out once you map yourself into it properly to access the higher functions within your quantum computer brain and also within yourself. That's hitting that L, the electricity that you're made of, that blueprint. So your mind pictures that you make inside yourself while you're going around, this is you proving concepts. You're literally making a character. You're going through your 7 different chakras in different areas, meeting different beings, and you have that basic character you make, which mine came when I took all 5 of my chakras and put them back together. I have 5 different avatars that purposely popped up when I was going around exploring my temples for the 5 elements. I merged them all back together to make the 6th. The 5 still existed, but there's something new that came out of the 5. And then from there, Slain Gray, that's what everyone knows me as, like my gamer tag, Slain Gray. From there, I split Slain into Slain and Draven. Because he was a gray entity, but I didn't really understand what gray was, so I need to understand light and dark. So Slave was the light side, Slain and Draven. Yeah, it was Slain and Draven that came. Because the same person, he just shifted over to being light. On the outside, I'm Slain. Inside, Draven was there. Or D-Raven, of the Raven. Then he just like, when I was like, what's your name? The dude, like, I'm driving. So I didn't try to control anything. Came back together, made Slave to Natra, which is the second sixth that I have, which is right here. Well, he was actually seventh, and he actually could confront the king, but whatever, miracles there. It's a whole layout inside myself and my own meditations, which, if you read my writings that I've posted online, you can see me actually going through and interacting with these people, and I'm actually telling you what I'm doing inside my temple. I wasn't making it up. I was doing things inside my temple. And people are just like, this is really good. You should turn it into a book or something. And, you can make money off of this. And I'm like, I'm writing this to get this out to show you who I am. And people don't understand that. Whatever. You want to learn how to control your mind pictures. And things you see, like when I was walking up and down the street, little old loser me, the meek will inherit the earth. Right? Walking up and down the street, running through the wilderness in my mind, so that once I got old enough to get out the street, I went to the woods and ran around the woods within the woods while doing it in my mind, while paying attention to all my senses like I did inside my mind, but inside the wood, making the two worlds become one inside the interaction, my persona, my everything, the way I move, all the stuff is in there. So it was just a mental blueprint to allow the person that was to give me a footing to emerge into that being and building closer into my Yod form. You have to build yourself. You're making a character. You have to make your own decisions by your yes and no actions. You decide if you become worthy. But you're supposed to be seeking also the one in enlightenment, because with enlightenment, it's like inside games. There's plenty of people that got a lot of power, right? Like a lot of people that have gotten powers and stuff like that are on the world, they can do crazy things. But they don't have enlightenment. Without you having the pineal gland opened and having that singularity turned on, the Yod within it, without you coming to know and like see all the things like Jacob went to Peniel and God face to face, without that happening, you can't resurrect. When you die, that's the end of your story. It's a good story, but you're not a character that's been defined. Once you actually pop the gland open and you have your singularity turned on that's within you, and you get identified as who you are, you're a player running around inside the dream world. Even though you're here on this is still a part of the dream. It's just a different aspect of it where people have forgotten that it is a dream. So when you die, you resurrect. This is what they mean by gain the resurrection. Inside Valhalla, whenever Valhalla comes and how the new kingdom of heaven is supposed to come to earth, this is how it comes. By people doing the procedure, understanding, going back to the person who doesn't have a name. Shiva means he who is not, because he who is not doesn't have a particular place of creation or not. But he's there. He's unknown, unnameable. He's inside all the thing. Once you connect with him in Gestalt, he can bring you back into the dream because you're one of his characters, one of his children. You were accepted. You're another face. You're different from him, but you both know each other enough to where he's like, well, yeah, dude, okay. Like, he was there when we were kids. All of us heard his voice in the back of our minds. Like, little kids be sitting there and doing, like, some crazy stuff, right? That's that Shiva demon stuff going on. That's why, I don't know what else you tell a kid, don't take your pants off and don't put poop on the wall. You walk into a room and they're sitting there with their pants off and then pooped on the wall while smiling at you like a little angel. What the hell is that? What do you call that? I guess that demonic stuff. I'm telling you. We all know little children are hellions. Hell ions. They raise hell, constantly crying. And then your parent mode turns on. You start acting like Enlil. Go sit down. Do as I say. Blah, 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 blah. People get like that. And for sometimes you're like Enki, and you're being all happy and nurturing to them. But then other times you've had a long day, you don't want to deal with them. And next thing you know, you're like Enlil. And you're like, just go to your room. See? It's the differences inside the way that we actually show ourselves as well. That come up inside of this, that Enki, Enlil, all this stuff is different aspects of our mind. This stuff is all stories being told to us to explain the way that we fractured ourselves when we were falling out of the dream and coming here. It's to reveal deep psychology, but also the spiritual nature. It's all the things coming together as one. You have to unify. We gather things, information, we put them in boxes. When you're a little kids don't draw colors and lines. They blend and blur everything together. So you have to take all the things in your boxes that you have and dump them on the ground and be like, what do I got? and start, like when you go to Imagination Land when you're a little kid and you tell them to pick up all their toys, but they let their toys out because they were saving information. They were choosing like who's doing what and making stuff like that. Well, when they put all their stuff back up into the thing, they just pull everything back up into the thing, and they'll keep like their favorite toy or 2 or 3 up on the top for them to get to them easy access. That's what you do with your own persona. You leave the top things to you that you like about yourself or you don't like about yourself. You leave those things at the very top so you can access it. But you have all this deeper information and experience that you've left here. Over time, those toys aren't used and they just get put away somewhere, packed away somewhere, or someone else gets your toys and stuff like that. For you, you still have all the information within you. It's just shadowed. It's then went away. You have to speed your mind up and start accessing all of it and like using all your different areas and seeing how it all blurs together. Once you blur together and you can see the artwork within the blur, that's whenever you start actually activating your Lilith, your higher mind. Being able to, like, how all the Lilith constantly is coming at her. Whenever you're a baby, you're taking all this information, you can't process it. So your Lilith shuts down. And from your logical mind, your Eve is born that handles about 8 things at a time inside your awareness within your attention. That's how that works. By you sitting here and taking everything down and throwing it on the ground, you're speeding up your mind and you go into your Lilith. That'll help out with your meditations because you'll be able to sit there and look inside yourself and you'll be able to feel what's happening inside of your upper room. You'll be able to see, hear, smell, all of it. You can run around and do all this stuff. And authors often do this and be like, oh yeah, this is whatchamacallit. They're showing you maybe things about themselves on the higher realm, but they're just not pulling it down and through out into this world. So there's got to be a mixture of heaven and earth have to come together and become made one. And the earth is key, which is the waters. So going from being a physical being, you have the access back into key, which is your energy or that energy understanding within you. And as you access key, then key also goes to the fire, not just the waters, but it also goes to the primal fire that makes everything burn. So that's a little short lesson on meditation and what you can do to help yourself out. Walk around the woods, breathe deep, feel the Om within you, feel that vibration. When you put headphones into yourself and you hear the bass hits and you feel that that just goes off within you, that is a sound you should hold on to. It's a thing for you to start remembering to go into the inner part of you, to explore and like expand all this other stuff. See yourself becoming cosmic. See the stars behind you exploring and exploding. Become one with the cosmos. All that stuff they be saying. Or you can just be and feel your energy and let yourself bleed out. Let that energy flow from outside you. Cultivate what's within you, your own energy, understanding, and presence, and you'll start to be able to tap into deeper things. I'm the priest of ashes. I wear the angel of the man that I used to be so that I can tell you the things you need to know as a man. But I'm also a Yod. Hunu Shizu. Y'all ain't met me yet. I'm still going to keep it inside this level for now. There's other things coming, though. Bigger things. You all might want to prepare. Hope you find it useful.